years, we've heard rumors that Justin Trudeau, the former Prime Minister of Canada, could be your half-brother. What do you think of that?
The only thing I can say is that his mother used to visit the country very often.
Well, that may be a tell then. I guess that's a half answer.
Yeah.
Do you plan to call him and maybe find out?
No. I won't do it. If he wants, he's going to be welcome, but I won't. I think he keeps that to himself, and you have to respect that.
Yeah, well, you have to respect that. Maggie Trudeau, a woman who very rarely wore underwear while being the First Lady of Canada, apparently visiting Fidel Castro on numerous occasions, Eric.
Only according to Fidel's daughter. So.
Fidel's his half sister or something. She's like
she's not saying
what she is.
Dignified, but she didn't deny it either.
Rock and roll people who know rock and roll know that she ran off with Ronnie Wood of the Stones for a while too, after he encountered her without underwear at a Stones show, which I think might have been their performance on SNL, but you're gonna have to check me on that. But she did run off with Ronnie Wood at one point.
Well, fair enough. I do agree with the headline though that her response was very telling. Like, well, his mother did visit quite a lot.
So did Karen Bass. Maybe she's related to him.
Oh, good Lord!
I think she visited 34 times, running guns back and forth and weapons.
Well, I never knew that Castro was such a sexy guy. I mean, I dealt with Cubans while I was down there. The one thing I never heard about Castro was that he was a sexy dude.
No, not sexy. I mean, he had relationships with a lot of women. One who they flipped, who they tried, the one who tried to kill him. Mm-hmm. She was also she had a child with him. She had an abortion, but she was pregnant from him. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, and then there was the one who was, I believe, in either CIA, DIA, or FBI, but she was somehow in intelligence and literally worked for them for, I want to say, 16 to 20 years, had a radio inside her place and was just, radioing back all kinds of material to them. But yeah, their espionage has always been top notch.
Wow, yeah, their espionage has been top notch. You're right.
It is, to be fair, smaller countries who have their back against the wall.
Yeah.
Really
Good
talented at that. And,
Good
Israel's known for their intelligence. Other small countries, I think that's probably very wise. But either way,
Marita Colanzo, I think her name was. Marita Lorenz was her name. And she was also affiliated with some of the Watergate people. She had a relationship with one of the Watergate burglars. So everything goes around Nixon, which is kind of interesting.
I like your shirt, but I still think it's a subpar product compared to the America's Untold Stories merch that
I got the hat. I got the hat.
A pale tie-dye for celebrating on a Friday afternoon, chilling out with Freeform Friday. So that's always a good choice. Now, somebody else who was probably celebrating at one time, maybe not so much now, but holy cow, this guy, he did some interesting work, and here's a little clip.
$40 million worth of gold bars, millions in cash, and dozens of luxury watches. That's what FBI agents say they found in the home of an ex-CIA official last week. Good evening to you. I'm Scott Thuman. Those gold bars, according to court documents, were stolen from the federal government, and David Rush has now been charged with criminal theft of public money. 7 News' Christian Flores is live at the federal courthouse in Alexandria. And Christian, these are obviously very serious allegations. What are you learning from neighbors tonight?
Now, go with us. This guy, you got to give him credit. Apparently, he got discovered because he lied on his resume. It appears like he said, I did this. So he kind of lied about his education.
No.
Lied about his military service.
Let me just back it up a little bit, because he was caught because they checked his locker at the CIA and found that the stuff was missing. Let's just go back a little bit. They checked his locker. He was about to retire, 17 years in the service. He began to get this gold bars and watches from them for certain missions he claimed he was on, which may or may not be true. The resume goes back 17 years to when a guy named Leon Panetta was in charge of the CIA under Obama in 2009, and he wasn't vetted back then. Now they're looking back at his career and they came up with what Eric is talking about. But the original dropping of the ball happened in 2009 when Leon Panetta, an outsider that people complained would not be able to run the CIA. I remember the day he started, Eric. The complaints were he knows nothing about intelligence. And this is what happened the same year. This guy claimed to be a naval test pilot. He was collecting money as a naval reserve officer, $77,000 in side money just from the Navy, claimed to have gone to Clemson, a BA at Clemson, and a master's at RPI, which is Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in upstate New York, a very famous institute up there. He claimed to have a master's from RPI. None of that was true. However, that being said, he seemed to have been given these things for legitimate reasons over time, and they were secured in a storage locker at Langley, like each person has. And so somehow this, over time, I believe, migrated to his house, which is when the FBI came in and took them all down. Now,
yeah, he was putting in, from what I understand, requests saying, "Hey, I need a little bullion to pay off this person."
And that's not unusual. This was during the hunt for Obama, the hunt for Osama bin Laden at the time, Eric, who is then 2011. That begins to happen. So they were flying money over to Islamabad and to other areas of the country, even during the Afghan war, to bribe certain people. As we have since learned, pallets of cash flying to Afghanistan and Iraq, as we know, under the Bush administration. But this came, and the first guy they got on TV to try to clear himself was Leon Panetta. They gave him the first opportunity to just laugh in the camera and say, well, we're going to have to find out a little bit more about this gentleman. In other words, it happened on his watch, and that's why they gave him the chance to say something as Obama's handpicked CIA director, Eric.
Well, I mean, to be honest, he probably was a pretty damn effective agent if he could lie so easily about everything. It sounds like he has Gavin Newsom level lying ability.
Well, okay, so as you know, people can beat the box, but the question is, they're usually boxed just by contract once a year. So that's 17 times they either didn't inquire or he beat the box individually on other issues. I don't know what they're asking him annually in their CIA polygraph annual test, but that's just annual. There's random ones like drug tests that they do polygraph people. It doesn't mean it's infallible. Obviously, we now know, and Eric has pointed out before, that the box is beatable for pathological liars. But he's not constantly lying about his resume. That's already been established from day one. So that's not going to come up again and again and again. Did you go to Clemson? You know, I mean, I think once you're in the clear, and you could ask Amaryllis Fox if this happened to her, if she was constantly asked and polygraphed about 9/11, whether she lied about it or not, or got caught, because she didn't either.
Yeah, and again, though, I'm just saying his lying didn't stop there. Obviously, he was lying, saying, "Oh, I need the gold bullion for this," and a little on the side, a little bit on the side here. Some Rolex watches.
Right. Not? Again, but as somebody in the CIA pointed out, that the Rolex watches, the reason he has 35 of them, they are traditionally used and given out as gifts to operatives.
Sure.
Right. But they're in his possession. So he's going to have to defend himself in court and explain. And that's going to be a whoopsie doodle. They may invoke national security, his lawyers, which I assume that they will if they're smart.
Oh, they're going to try it, of course. I mean, but this isn't like taking your laptop home from work.
No. This is, this is 1993 Aldrich Ames level stuff, Eric.
Oh, he just
I
died
mean-
recently, by the way.
Right, he passed away, but he accounted for over 20 deaths of operatives by him selling information, and that was him selling information. He was an alcoholic. A completely different story than this. The only thing in common is that they both worked for CIA. But that being said, well, this defense is going to be a doozy.
Well, and also, to be fair, comparing this guy with Ames or Robert Hansen, who was the other really, really dirty one, I don't know yet that this guy sacrificed any operatives or gave any of that away.
No,
It sounds like he was just
right,
a thief.
right.
So,
He
not-
may
not
have
that
been
I'm
trying to
encouraging it.
retire, with this money and go to Guatemala or Belize or get a retirement home and move it offshore or whatever. It might have been his plan. But from what I heard, it started with them at Langley. He applied to retire. They went into his locker and they said, "Hey, what happened? What happened to that stuff we've been giving you for 17 years, bro?"